Good morning, my beautiful children and grandchildren. I learned a new song I want to share with you. It's called Yahuwah Put a Rainbow in the Clouds. When Yahuwah shut Noah in the grand old ark, he put a rainbow in the clouds. When thunder rolled and sky was dark, he put a rainbow in the clouds. Oh, Yahuwah put a rainbow in the clouds. Yahuwah put a rainbow in the clouds. Well, it looked like the sun wouldn't shine anymore. Yahuwah put a rainbow in the clouds. Oh, way down yonder in Egypt's sand, Yahuwah put a rainbow in the clouds, just to lead his children to the promised land. Yahuwah put a rainbow in the clouds. Oh, Yahuwah put a rainbow in the clouds. Yahuwah put a rainbow in the clouds. Well, it looked like the sun wouldn't shine anymore. Yahuwah put a rainbow in the clouds. Oh, Jordan deep and Jordan wide, Yahuwah put a rainbow in the clouds, just to lead his people to the other side. Yahuwah put a rainbow in the clouds. Oh, Yahuwah put a rainbow in the clouds. Yahuwah put a rainbow in the clouds. Well, it looked like the sun wouldn't shine anymore, but Yahuwah put a rainbow in the clouds. Okay, I wanted to play this song as an encouragement to you as we are going through a terrible darkness, a darkness that's coming upon the world. I wanted to remind you when Yahushua was asked, what will be the sign of your coming in the end of the age? He said, as in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man. And as they didn't have any idea what was coming upon them until Noah was shut into the ark, and the whole thing fell apart then. But Noah and his people had to go through that time of trouble too. They just were watched over, and it must have been frightening to be on the ark with all the animals, the floods, the waves raging and throwing you all around. But after the end of 150 days, the waters began to recede. And when they came out of the ark, Yahuwah put a rainbow in the clouds. And he said, this is a promise of the covenant. It's a token of the covenant I'm making between you and me. And so it wasn't the real thing. A token isn't a real thing. It's something that represents something. And if you turn a rainbow upside down, this is what you're going to see. Something like this. Menorah. And it's interesting. There were 7 colors of the rainbow. There are 7 colors of the rainbow. Rainbow is actually light that is refracting through a prism. And so, so that you can see the 7 colors of it. And the menorah has 7 candlesticks. And it represents those truths, all the light that has come from Yahuwah. So in the tabernacle, this is the light that gave light to the tabernacle, to the priests, as they worked inside of that tabernacle. And it is representing all the light that comes from Yahuwah. Now, when the tabernacle was to be a schoolmaster to lead them to Christ, when they broke their first covenant, Moses had gone up and brought down the first covenant was the 10 Commandments and the holy days, some right rulings, and they said, all that Yahuwah has said we will do. So he goes up the mountain and was gone for 40 days to get the pattern of the tabernacle. And while he was gone, one of those holy days was coming up. And they didn't know how to worship. So they took it upon themselves to do it like they did in Egypt. They made a golden calf. So they already broke that covenant when they promised they wouldn't have any other gods before him or make any images to worship. And so that covenant was broken. He had to go up and he got the law because they weren't ready for that yet. So he had to go up and get the law with all of its burdensome animal sacrifices, bring that down and have them do this for many years. They were children. They had to learn what it all represented. So that's what the tabernacle was for. But after Christ came, he set up his church. Now, in the first chapter of Revelation, chapter 1, we see a candlestick. John has a vision, and this candlestick that has 7 parts is speaking to him. The one in the center is speaking to him. And he asks him what it means. And he says the candlesticks are the 7 churches. And the stars in the angel's hand are the angels, or the stars in this center candlestick's hand are the angels of the 7 churches. So each one of the churches that were established back then were given one angel to guide them, one truth, one light. But it said each one of these had one, but the one in the center had all 7. This one in the center represents Christ and the church of the firstborn that is written in heaven, spoken of in the book of Hebrews, I think it's chapter 6. And so, and also in Galatians chapter 4, I believe. So these, the candlestick was patterned after a almond tree. The almond tree was the very first tree in the spring to blossom, to bud, blossom. Well, I think it even blossomed before the leaves would come out. And so it's the first one that is seen in fruit. And so he compares, it was the first fruit of all the trees. And so he compares his people to that. He calls this special group of people that he calls out of the nations in the end of times, he calls them his first fruits. Now, as Noah had the rainbow, he said it was a token of the covenant. Yahuwah would give the real meaning of the covenant in the end of times. It's found in Isaiah chapter 42, and it says, he's speaking of his servant, Jacob, his people. And he says, I, Yahuwah, have called thee in righteousness and will hold thine hand. I will keep thee and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles, to open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison houses. Okay, and then we see in Isaiah 6, he calls to his people, arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of Yahuwah is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Yahuwah shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. So we see his people in the end of time are his rainbow. And just like he has a group called his first fruits like the almond tree, like the candlestick pattern after the almond tree. And they will give light to the world. Many people, it speaks of a great apostasy that takes place right at the end of the world when people are throwing away the traditions of their fathers. They have forsaken God, Yahuwah, and they become a part of the beast system that is rising up. They don't want God anymore in their lives. But it says, his light will rise upon his people. And it starts out small, one of a city, two of a family, and he gathers them out of the nations, out of the congregations, all the different denomination, congregations, religions, brings them back to the light of the light that he has given us. The Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and that Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Yahushua, Jesus, was the light of this world. And if we abide in him, we also can be the light of this world, the rainbow that can be the hope when this terrible darkness overtakes us. So in one of these verses, it says, way down yonder in Egypt's sand, Yahuwah put a rainbow in the clouds. That was Joseph. Joseph had a coat of many colors. And Yahuwah raised up Joseph, gave him wisdom and understanding. He was filled with the Holy Spirit, that he would be able to not only help his family in the time of famine, but also the Egyptians and anyone who would come. He is a pattern and a type of Yahuwah's people in the end of time, who will be blessed with his spirit and understanding and will be able to help others when this time of trouble comes and people don't know where to turn. So realize and be encouraged that there is a rainbow in the clouds. There's a great awakening that is happening all over the world as his people are waking up, coming back to him, not forsaking him. And we need to remember these beautiful promises he's given to his people. So I praise his holy name and am looking forward to this wonderful day when his kingdom will come and his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Hang on and look for the rainbow in the clouds. I love you all. Have a blessed day.